on, guys? And I'm back again with another video. I'm sorry I haven't really uploaded in the past week. I was out on my vacation. I was in Miami for my birthday, so I'm sorry about that. But to reward you guys now, I'm going to be going over a few pairs. So now that I'm back, so just like we always do, we're gonna start off on the higher time frames. So right now we're gonna do US30, and I'm on the daily. So key areas that I see right now, if you look to the left right here, this last up candle before this down move, this is going to be classified as a bearish order block. So this is a key area that we want to keep in mind. And as you can see how prices respecting this area. Came up to it Friday, which was yesterday, and then had this massive drop, which I was able to capitalize on. And it's just a nice movement. Right now we're trading back into it, so we're gonna keep that in mind. So what else are we gonna do? We're gonna pull our fib from this low right here all the way up to here. And as you can see how price reacted to this 38.20% continuation level. And this is a level that means we have a lot of momentum, and price doesn't want to have a deep retracement. It just wanted to come down real quick before taking off. But for now, I'm expecting price to come for these highs possibly this week. Let me put this, because why? This is an area of liquidity. This is an area where there's going to be a lot of orders and all of that price is eventually going to want to reach for. So we have this area as a target, 35,625 next week. Short term, I expect price to possibly go even higher, but that's just a short term target, because mind you, we're on the daily, so we want lower time frame setups. We're also going to mark up this area of liquidity right here, right under these lows that price left. So now we know this, and we know that if price does have a retracement possibly, we could look to target these imbalances that price still has right under here before possibly going higher, because overall I'm still very bullish on US30, and I don't expect it to have any crazy retracements to possibly break lows yet. Maybe in a few months or so, but not right now, because once these lows are broken here, we're most likely going to come all the way back down here, which is 33,750. So let's mark up these lows all the way down here too, because mind you, we got to map up everything, every time frame, because it all plays a part to the overall big perspective and small perspective. We got to understand what's going on overall to be able to know what we're doing and have a good bias on intraday. So now we're going to move on to the 4-hour. So we overall know we're bullish long term. Let me fix all this, make them a little neater. We know we're bullish long term, so we got to map out what we think is going to be going on in key areas on the 4-hour time frame, because the 4-hour time frame is very key, because when we're on taking day trades and intraday trades, it's all on the 1-hour and 4-hour basically readings, chart analysis. So they're very key areas that you want to watch out for. So right now, one thing that I noticed, these highs, these equal highs that we have right here, this is making a triple top at this point. And you know what that means? Above that triple top is liquidity that price is going to make a run for. It's easy. Like you can see how clean these highs are. When you see equal highs this clean, triple top at that, just know that price is eventually going to want to target it. And price is making a lot of consolidation in this area, so I'm expecting price to possibly have a big expansion, a retracement to possibly go even higher. But if that doesn't happen, price could possibly keep on ranging before dropping even lower to these areas before going higher. So now that we know what could possibly happen, we got to map out areas that price is likely to go to, because that's not enough. So one thing that I noticed, if you look to the left, you see this last up candle before this down move, that's leaving a 4-hour order block. And where is this order block at? Look at this. right above these highs. So now we have two reasons for price to possibly come into this area even higher and take out these lows, not those highs. Because now that you see price has the order block here, and now let's reverse this fib to see what we're looking at overall from that high to this low. Okay, look at these levels right here. 79 to the 62. You can see price is it's not really respecting it at this point. It's going above. It's all fucked up, but it's going above right now. I would want to see it possibly have a retracement down, and as you can see with the way the candle formed, we could possibly see a break in the downwards structure. Honestly, because you can see the last candle didn't have much momentum, but it all depends what happens when the market opens, because when the market opens, price could likely just have a big push up and then maybe just have a push down, and then just change the trend reverse, or price is just gonna start to shoot and it's just gonna start to go up, have small retracements, because usually that's how US30 is, and then we'll just have to figure it out from there. We'll, you know, change bias, but let's just take that away. So this is a key area that I'm going to be looking at. This level is 35,500, so that's another confirmation. The level itself right here, the level itself, it's a whole number, psychological level. So we have a lot of confirmations for why we would want to get into trades possibly here, or just having an area that we know price is likely to have a rejection from. So let's say that does happen. Let's pull our fib to somewhere around here, because that's possibly where price will make a high. And now let's look at areas to map out under if price does go. So what's one thing we notice? Under this area of liquidity, under these lows, you can see that we have the fair value gap on the higher time frame. On the higher time frame, this is a fair value gap, meaning this is an area price is going to want to come down into and fill this area before possibly going higher, or just come down and fill this area to keep going lower, possibly something like that. So now we have two confirmations for why price will want to target this area. It's an area of liquidity. There's a fair value gap, but not only that, the fib that we have drawn from these highs right here, where price could possibly go to, we're basically trying to map out what we think price is going to do. This might not happen, but understanding, you have to have a reason. You have to have, what's the word, a theory or something. You have to already know what you're looking for. You can't just go in just doing anything. So now we see that we drew the fib from, or is it these lows on the higher time frame, I think the daily, yeah, on the daily. So now that we know that, you can see that we have the fib area also in confluence. So that's three confirmations right there. And if you also want to have another confirmation, I'm pretty sure this is at the right here. It's a 35,200. It's not right there, but right here, this 35,200 area. So that's another reason price could possibly come down to this area and push even lower if price does come down. But now, let's just have an idea, what if price just takes off? What are we gonna do? From there, we're just gonna have to wait for a retracement back to this order block possibly. And that's just all we could really do right here, because if price does break through this, then it's gonna be a breaker block. At that point, it's not going to be an order block, so we just wait for price to have a retracement back to that area, and then from there, that's really it. So if price does break, come down, possibly have to wait for that retracement to then go even higher. So now we have an idea of what we think price is going to do. We have a few basically predictions on what we think price could do. I'm gonna draw them just like this, just so we make it easier. Just like that, possibly price could come up into this order block before coming down, come even lower to possibly consolidate, then push above all this. So that's basically what we're expecting as of right now, and these aren't just random predictions. You can see these are areas of high probability that we could see reactions in price. So that's all it is. And as you can see, everything's, I showed you every time frame. Look at how clean it all is. The way price is respecting this level, the way price is leaving equal highs. Look how clean. When you see stuff that's clean, you could just expect price to make runs for it. And if you go even on the lower time frames, you can map out even more short-term trades like this, filling in these imbalances, having a retracement to possibly come down to this order block right here on the 1 hour time frame. So these are all you can get even. So now you put your fib from here to here. You can see that this is also in confluence with this level also. Like if you just watch my videos on the fibs and understanding these concepts, because you understand them more and it'll just make it easier. But yeah, that's US30, and now we're going to move on to NAS100. Alright, so we're gonna do the same thing. Start off on high time frames to understand what's going on. Okay, so NAS100 you can see is in expansion as of right now, and honestly, I'm going to mark up areas that price could also come back to when it retraces, even though I don't think it's going to be retracing as of right now. I think we still have potential to go even higher. By the way it's moving, you can see we have a lot of momentum. We broke these highs right here. So let's just map out all this stuff on the daily time frame, because even though we're not going to be using these lows anytime soon because of how far low they are, we got to understand where they are. And you also, if you look to the left, this last down candle before this push up that broke these highs, it's going to be a daily order block. So this is an area we could watch also, because you got to know these higher time frame zones, because you can map out trades that could last a whole week from these areas, because these, since they're higher time frame, they have a higher probability of having a bigger move, you understand? And when you're a day trader and you're able to hold for a few days, like from Monday to or Tuesday holding to like a Thursday or Friday, you can hold trades, because when you get in at certain areas, they tend to be bigger moves. So you'll basically have a bigger move from your entry, and if you just have it broken even, the chances of it getting stopped out are very unlikely. So now we have these areas on the daily time frame. We also want to mark up right here, because it's also going to be an order block. We want to mark up this right here, this daily order block. So gotta make it perfect. Mark up this daily order block also, because we know price could likely have a short-term retracement to possibly have that keep pushing. You understand? And now that we know what we're looking at on the daily time frame, we know that we're bullish. Just map out all the liquidity. Where's it at? We know we have liquidity also under here, these lows. We also have more all the way under here, but we're not going to map those out as right now. We'll just map out this order block right here. But that's about it. Now we're going to move on to the 4 hour time frame. Okay, now let's look at the short term, what we expect to happen. So let's pull our fib from what's happening as of right now, so we can map out areas price could likely have attraction to. So looking at this, we can map out the same type of setup that we have marked up on the higher time frame. If you look, you see this pattern? It's the same thing we're looking at right here in the short term. So we can map out the same type of setup for short term. So we know that this is an area of high probability right here. Why? Because because you see these are fib zones, so these are area of a discount that we could get in price. So basically getting a lower price so we can get a better entry for catching an expansion higher. Or you can even look to the left, right over here, to these candles. The high of this candle right here, 4-hour order block, right at the top of this 62. And as you can see, which is also the bottom of this old order block. So we could possibly get a wick down into this before price has that push up. You understand? So that's something we can look for there. But if price doesn't respect that area and comes even lower, areas that we could look to target will be this order block also. And another way we can get our confirmations for that is if we pull our fib from here, this low, to the higher price. And what is this in confluence with? You can see we're in confluence with the breaker block and the 38.20% continuation level. So we're mapping out the same setups on literally just bigger frames. You can see we're expecting price to come down. And then what do you see right here? Same setup. It's consolidating, had a breakdown, went up. We're expecting to come back down to go even higher. It's literally the same thing, guys, and the same thing on higher time frame. On the daily, the overall, the same thing. But yeah, that's NAS100. This is what we're expecting to happen for NAS on all time frames. So this could last possibly the week. Same thing with US30. But now we're gonna move on to GBPJPY. We're gonna go to the daily, and we're gonna map out key areas on the higher time frame to watch out for them. So the first thing I notice are gonna be these lows right here. Why they're important? Because this is gonna be a burger block. So this is an area that we could possibly see attraction to in price. And as you can see, price has these highs right here that are left. So this is an area that we could look to possibly target short term. But we're also going to pull our fib from these highs up here, because this is the highs that started this move. Pull them to this low. I'm not going to pull it to here. And as you can see, this is where price is as of right now, having this rejection, just having a hard time breaking through. It's just consolidating here, because mind you, we're on the daily time frame. So we know that price has a likelihood of being attracted to this area right here, because we had the confirmations of this breaker block, confirmations of this fib, and we also have highs that we can target short term. So honestly, this is going to be a simpler setup. We're basically looking for that to then target these lows all the way down here, right here, and then right here. So those are our targets for our sell bias. But now let's understand what would happen if price keeps going higher. So let's pull our fib from this low to this high. Gonna get rid of this. If you look at it from the other perspective, and you don't look at this level here, look at this fib from this high and this low. Look at what price is rejecting. It's rejecting our 38.20 continuation level, but on the buy side. So that's another thing that we can see. And if price keeps going lower, it can look to target these levels all the way down here before possibly going higher. Because overall, I want to see, still, I'm overall bullish on, what is this, GBPJPY. Even though right now we're probably going to be targeting lows if it does come lower. But overall, I think possibly price could still target these highs. That price is all the way up here. Honestly, in my idea, I don't want to see a bearish long term on GJ. I want to see bullish long term on GJ for the next couple weeks. but you never know. So let's move on to the 4 hour now. Let's get rid of these. And we're gonna look at it like this. You gotta go short term now. So now we know that these levels are very important because these areas we could likely see rejection off of. So let's map out what else we see on this time frame. What else do we have? Another confirmation we have in this area is a 4 hour bullish order block right here. And this is right in here in the middle of these two levels. So that's already a good confirmation. Why? Because we have an area with multiple confirmation now. So let's withdraw our fib even lower now. What is that in confluence with? This is in confluence with the short-term fib from this low to this high also. You see what I mean? We get a lot of confirmations like this. So it's not, these are really good reasons to have trades at these areas because they are higher probability. But if price doesn't respect this and comes even lower, we have this 4 hour bullish order block also of this right here. Let's pull this out. Then from here we could pull our fib from this low to this high all the way up here, right up here. Not this high, but this high, because this is the range that this price is in, and vice versa for the other fibs. We're gonna pull that over all the way more to the right here. And what do you see? This is in confluence with that original 4 hour order block right here that we're talking about from this move right here is in confluence with 70.50% level. So this is in the area of high confluence also. You see what I mean? And you can see right here where price is currently at. It's about to be at the 38.20% continuation level also. So we could possibly see a little more ranging, consolidating on the 4 hour before having that push down or having that push even higher to come up to here. So that's what we think with GJ. We're not going to go down to the 1 hour time frame because I'm not going to be looking at it intraday. I only trade US30, but I'm mapping out these levels for you. Now that I'm looking at it, one thing that I noticed that I have for GJ, look at the level that this is at. What is it? Damn, I fucked that all up. My fault. Right here. I'm gonna make it. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave it that color. This is at the 152.500 level, right above here. So that's something we can keep in mind. But if you even look lower, this is the 152. Look at that. Look where it's at. Right at this, the middle. Because let's look at the half point of this fair value gap. We're gonna get the half of our fib. Look at that. The 50% of this, what is this, our breaker block, is right here in confluence with the 152 whole number level, also in confluence with the 70.5 continuation level. So this is an area you're going to want to look for rejection, higher time frame. You might be able to catch a good move to go see price go even lower. If you can get a good area, if price could have a retracement lower before going up, you could possibly get a good entry down here before price goes even higher. So these are areas that you could look out for. And if you also look, you could even target right here. We have a lot of areas of confluence down here also. So let's move on to our next pair. We're going to be looking at gold. So all right, we're going to start off on the daily time frame. We're going to map out areas of liquidity that price is likely to target. So the first area we could look to target right now are above these highs that price is leaving. We have another triple high right up here. You can already know that the price is likely to target these areas. Why? Because when you have equal highs clean like this, it tends to be liquidity, and it tends to have areas that price is more than likely wanting to target. So we're going to pull our fib from these highs to these lows to see where price is currently at. Price is currently, you see, pushing away from these levels, so I honestly don't think it's going to be respected, and I'm more bullish than I am bearish at this point now. So another thing we're going to want to look at is right here, this breaker block that price is likely to come into. And if we pull our fib from these highs now to these lows, you can see that it's right above these highs, but it's also 79% is in confluence with this, the open of this breaker block. So you got to keep that in mind also. So let's just have this right here. We know they keep this area in mind, but in the short term, let's look right here at this move that's happening short term. The first thing I see is right here, this order block that price left. This is a daily order block, even though it's a small candle, it's still an order block. And we have these areas that I'm not going to mark up as right now yet, that we're going to want to keep in mind also. But we also got to realize that we're currently inside of order block also. Right here, this candle, this last up candle before this down move right here, we got to keep in mind we're currently inside of this order block also. So if we look at the half point, which is somewhere right here, that's where price is at also. So we could likely see a rejection on the short term to possibly consolidate a little bit before going higher, or consolidate a little bit before going lower, so down here. So now that we have that mapped out, let's go to the 4-hour. Like I said, we want to keep these lows in mind because we're going to be drawing our fibs from these areas for short term discounted prices that we could look to get into on the fibs. So let's look at this. You can see even on the short term time frames, right here is a 4-hour order block. So we have this daily one above it and this 4-hour one right here, and it's also in confluence with the 50% of that order block also. So we could likely see rejection. So we are at an area that if we don't see rejection, it is likely to keep on going higher. So we already know that now. So if that stuff does happen, we know the reasoning behind it. So now let's look at what if price doesn't do that, it does do that and comes lower. Where are we looking to target? I'm actually gonna do it right here. Going to looking to be target all these lows to come low, because if we have this rejection, it's going to be a bigger move because it's a higher time frame move. So I'm gonna have these right here. I don't even need to do that. I have these lows marked up also. These lows don't matter, they're all relatively the same areas. So we're just gonna mark up these higher time frames and more important areas. So we have those to target, and we have these highs up here, but we just have this as a triple highs. So now when price does open, we're going to draw our fibs from wherever it is. And like I said, you could target order blocks right here. There's a 4-hour order block also. So we use the same strategy on every time frame. We just mark up high confirmation areas and we read what's going on. That's how we get in our trades. That's all we do. So even though we take L's, we take our W's, because all we're doing is marking up high confluence areas and areas that have a high likelihood of having rejection and reaction to. So when price opens, because I'm not going to draw my fib from where price is right now because it's already so close to the high, so we're just going to wait for price to open to possibly have that rejection, so then we can pull our fib to that high that it makes. So these are areas that we're going to just keep in mind. And that's really it for gold. We're overall bullish, and we have areas that we're going to target if price does have rejection and go higher. But we also have areas on the lower time frame that we could look to target. So let's move on to our last pair, which is going to be Bitcoin. And we're going to look at my prediction for Bitcoin as of right now. So this is going to be a long-term prediction. I'm not going to do short-term. So let's just look at what's happening overall on the daily time frame. and let's mark up areas that price is currently at. So as you can see, the first thing I see is price is currently at this breaker block, and this is where we're having the struggle and having that push downwards. So from here, let me pull my fib. Let me look at it on the weekly. I'm gonna draw the fib from the weekly. This is gonna be a very higher time frame move. And as you can see, this breaker block and the close of this weekly breaker block right here is right where price is at currently right now, which is 50,000 basically. I'm gonna draw it like this. It's basically the 50,000 right here. It's rejecting 50,000, and honestly, I think we could possibly have a drop because price has been bullish for a while. So I predict price is likely to have this drop down to this level, which is, where is this at? I'm trying to mark out key areas. 39,000. Too many zeros. 39,000. So this, if you also pull our fib from this low to this high right here, this is in confluence with this fib, with this breaker block, and these areas that are all inside of here that need to be filled in, because why is leaving these gaps in price that we need to fill in. So from here to here, we look to fill this in, because if you look at what price is doing on this weekly, we're losing momentum, we're ranging after having a big expansion. So the next thing I'm expecting is we could possibly have a retracement, consolidate before having expansion to go higher and reject these areas to possibly go even lower, or we have this retracement lower to go higher and target these highs all the way up here and just make all-time highs. So that's long term what I expect for Bitcoin. I'm bullish overall long term because honestly I think it's going to get pushed. Everyone talks about it. It's going to just keep getting more popular in my opinion, and people are just starting to understand more of what it could do. You're starting to be able to buy it in multiple countries. So that's honestly what I'm expecting to happen for Bitcoin long term. I'm not going to do any 4-hour or 1-hour markups. This is what I see long term. And if price does even want to come even lower, we have another breaker block we could look to target down here, right here, which is at all the way at 18,000. So that's if we have a crash. But if we don't, just short-term drop to potentially go even higher. So that's what I think is going to happen. So hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. I made a nice little long one. I went very in depth in this video because I was gone for a week and a half, I think. So I just had to come back with that fucking game, honestly. But that's really it. I'm gonna talk to you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, because I just hit 100 subs also. So thank you guys for that. I forgot to mention that. Just hit 100 subs. Now we're gonna be going for 200, then 300, then 400, then we're going for a fucking million. On God.